Chapter 51 Gojo's Purity. Gojo left Geto in the room while he went to the convenience store to stock up on groceries. Even though they were living on microwavable meals and pre-made onigiri and sandwiches, Geto was finally gaining back a little bit of the weight he lost while in the hospital. Geto had a request for soba noodles, and Gojo stopped for takeout. Then he passed by a bakery and picked up something for himself. When he returned, he was greeted by complete silence in the room. Geto wasn't there. Gojo dropped the bags of food on the floor and checked the patio. Geto was leaning against the railing, looking out into the woods that faced their room. Gojo watched him for a moment. His eyes traced the flow of Geto's hair as it cascaded past his shoulders, the angle of his body as it tapered in at the waist, then curved back out at his rear. When Geto shifted his posture, he could see the slight bulges of his calves underneath the thin fabric of his pants. Geto looked over his shoulder at him, and Gojo's heart leapt. "Dinner's here." Geto turned around and tried to give him a little smile as he walked past to go back into the room. Gojo could sense that he had something on his mind. Geto had already started putting the groceries away when Gojo closed the patio door behind him. Was Geto avoiding him? They sat on the floor, leaning against Gojo's bed, and ate their noodles in silence. Gojo wanted to ask if anything was wrong, but he refrained. When they were finished, Geto immediately got up, gathered their empty takeout containers, and tied them in a bag to be disposed of later. When he was done, he went back to his own bed and sat with his back against the wall, facing Gojo, but he avoided eye contact. Gojo stood up and took the small bag from the bakery from his desk. "Want to share dessert?" he asked hopefully. Geto finally looked at him. "You and your sweets." Gojo sat on the bed facing Geto. He reached into the bag and pulled out 2 cookies. They were heart-shaped with pink icing. Geto cracked a smile when he saw them. Gojo handed him one of the cookies. "Here, go ahead and break my heart," he joked. He took a huge bite of his own cookie, then choked it down quickly when he saw the look on Geto's face. Geto was staring at the dessert in his hand. His cheeks were drained of color. Gojo dropped the rest of his cookie back into the paper bag. He put a hand on Geto's knee. "Hey, I'm dying to hear what's on your mind," Gojo prodded softly. Geto snapped his head up. He handed back the cookie and Gojo put it away. "Thanks for dessert. I'm just full right now," Geto said. "That's not really what you wanted to tell me, was it?" A little bit of the color came back to Geto's face. "Satoru," he started. Gojo waited. "I should have kept you pure," Geto said. Gojo was confused. "What?" "I was selfish and wanted that physical connection with you so bad. I didn't think about what I was doing," Geto confessed. "Suguru, I'm not really sure what you're getting at. I've tainted you by sleeping with you. I'm contaminated. Dirty." Geto looked down, ashamed. "Hey." Gojo's tone came out a lot harsher than it should have, but his temper flared. "I have never thought of you as either of those things. I get that your curse technique is emotionally draining and isn't flashy like mine, but you do something that even I can't do. You are strong in a way that no one else can be. Curses are dirty, but you are not." Gojo placed a hand on Geto's cheek and forced him to look at him. "It's my choice to sleep with you too. I have 0 regrets. In fact," Gojo's voice softened significantly, "I want you too much, too often." He put his hand down on Geto's knee and squeezed it. "You were upset with me holding back from you before, so please don't do it to me," Gojo pleaded. Geto put his chin down again and didn't respond, but he touched Gojo's fingertips lightly with his own. Gojo moved closer until he was kneeling between Geto's outstretched legs. He leaned in to give him a kiss. "Is it too soon for me to prove that I don't feel tainted by you?" Gojo asked, his hands pressing into Geto's hips. "Prove it," Geto challenged him. In one swift movement, Gojo had Geto on his back. He straddled him and slipped Geto's shirt off and tossed it away. His hands roamed against Geto's chest, and he kissed him while pinching his nipples, making them hard. Gojo moved down the bed. He removed Geto's pants and boxers and hurriedly stripped his own clothes off. Geto was watching him, letting him have full control of whatever happened next. Gojo gave him a hungry look, then ducked his head down to suck on Geto's cock. Geto gasped and shut his eyes in ecstasy, running his fingers through Gojo's wild hair as he gave him head. Gojo's lips were firm around him, his mouth hot. Goosebumps prickled across Geto's arms and legs as he felt himself getting close to letting go. "Satoru, please. Geto moaned. His body jolted as he spilled himself into Gojo's mouth. Gojo swallowed every drop of him that he could. He made a point of it. If Geto really thought of himself as dirty, then Gojo wanted to be down in it with him. Geto opened his eyes and Gojo locked in on him as he lifted Geto's hips up and pressed his erection into Geto's hole. "Oh God," Geto cried out as he felt Gojo thrust himself deeper inside him than he'd ever felt before. His movements were urgent and rough. Geto's body felt overstimulated and he was close to passing out. Gojo was panting hard and he held onto Geto's hips as he came closer to the edge. "Suguru, oh my God, fuck." Gojo's body twitched as he came forcefully inside Geto. Gojo stayed inside Geto's body like he had asked him to do before. He tried to catch his breath. Geto cried silently from pleasure and pain. Tears started to trail down the sides of his face and dampen his hair. Gojo finally had to pull himself away, and he stretched out next to Geto, noticing his tears. He propped himself up with one arm and looked into Geto's face. "Suguru, did I hurt you?" he asked worriedly. "You did, but in the best way possible," Geto laughed and sobbed at the same time. "Oh my God," Gojo sighed in relief. He finally relaxed and wrapped an arm around him. Geto turned to his side so he could press himself as close to Gojo as possible. He nuzzled his face into Gojo's neck, breathing in the scent of his skin. Gojo closed his eyes and held Geto tight, the taste of him still on his tongue.